Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to present to you a kind of an interesting build once again. This is a pretty advanced build. So the core idea was to get a build going around the reworked Heat Shiver helmet, which now gives you cold damage as extra fire damage per 1% chill effect, as well as 100% cold damage as extra fire damage against frozen enemies. So my idea was like, extra damage, conversion, like let's go Eternal Shroud with this one. So basically the idea about this build is a full non-damaging ailments build. That means that I want to have insane amounts of shocks and freezes, or chills and freezes. And the way I want to do this, as you saw on my other builds, I'm getting a really big fan of the Forbidden Flame Flash combo that has Fury of Nature, which says non-damaging ailments you inflict spread to nearby enemies. So that's a shock, freeze, chill, proliferation. As well as the non-damaging ailments you inflict have 100% more effect. A more effect is like insanely powerful instead of or compared to something like an increased effect, okay? So what that means, I want to have really big shocks. And the way this would work would be adding the Voltaxic Rift that also got a little bit changed. I think it's like not different, just the wording, and this with like maximum shock effect. So this gives us a 40 to maximum shock effect, as well as the Lightning Mastery gives us another 15 shock effect. So 50% is the baseline. We add another 40% from Voltaxic, makes it 90, plus 15 from the Mastery is 105 maximum shock effect. And to reach that is basically you need to hit a certain shocks threshold, basically. Means that you need to deal damage based on a certain amount of life in one hit to apply a shock. There is like all the variations of shock. I think like the minimum shock is like 10 or 15%. So if you do not reach that, if your hit would apply a 5% shock, this will be discarded, okay? So you will only apply the minimum shock, which is like a 15%, if you have enough damage. Everything below that is basically discarded. So that's not that easy, right? To get like 105% increased shock, right? Unless we stack the effect of non-damaging ailments, which basically lowers this threshold. So instead of like 100,000 damage for one hit to apply like 100% shock, I only need to do like 50,000 or 30,000 to apply the 100% shock, right? And that's why the Fury of Nature with the non-damaging ailments you inflict 100% more effect is so freaking good. As well as why actually Voltaxic Rift, why actually Lightning Arrow on this build. So well, that's pretty easy explained. If we take a look at Voltaxic Rift, it says, hits with this weapon shock enemies as though dealing 300% more damage. So let's assume I would do a 100k hit with Lightning Arrow. This will get calculated as if I would have hit the enemy for like 300 or 400,000 damage to apply the shock that I need, okay? I'm not doing like 400k a hit, but the weapon applies a shock as if I would do a 400% hit, right? So that makes it like easier to shock enemies. So we have like an insane amount of like increased and more effective non-damaging ailments, and our damage will deal damage as if it would deal more damage to apply those shocks. And on top of that, if we take a look at the Lightning Arrow, it also says shocks enemy as though dealing 290% more damage. So basically, my damage to apply the shock is calculated in the way that I deal 590% more damage, as well as lowering the threshold. And we did some party play, not really party play, but we ran a couple legs with Gooby and Phoenix for the Paradise, for leveling and stuff, And I even, on a difficulty 14 unique boss in the Lake of Kalandra on a 3-player HP, I applied 105% shocks. So it is actually ridiculous. So I'm pretty confident that I can shock everything for 105%. And if not, there is still other ways to gain even more non-damaging ailments, as well as like just flat damage on your gear. Good. What about the build other than that? First of all, we use Lightning Arrow as our clearing skill. We are Deadeye, as well as using Storm Rain for our single target. Storm Rain is basically you put down your totem, you play this with focus ballistas. So you put down the totems, and basically they don't do anything unless I attack. Okay, so wherever I attack, they are shooting these lightning beams. And these beams are actually dealing quite a lot of damage, and it's very hard to check like how many of these things I actually have. Because if I just shoot over here, every ballista shoots like 40 at 4 projectiles, and they are like beaming to each other. There is a limit of like 100 arrows stuck on the ground, but I have no idea how many there is actually hitting and whatnot. So, and then we go with one Call of the Brotherhood to actually convert our damage. It's the lightning conversion, right? Voltaxic Rift is not like the best contestant or contendant for Eternity Shroud, just because in a usual Eternity Shroud setup, you want to go from physical into lightning, into cold, into fire, into chaos. Well, physical doesn't matter, chaos doesn't matter, but we have fire, lightning, cold into fire, right? And every time it converts, I get the extra damage from the Eternity Shroud, right? So in the best case scenario, you want to convert directly from lightning with 2 Call of the Brotherhoods into cold, and then I take a cold to fire support to jump into lightning, or take the heat shiver and get like a shit ton of extra fire damage, right? So why is Voltaxic Rift not that good in that regard? It already comes with a 60% lightning to chaos conversion. Sorry. That means that instead of like getting from lightning into cold into fire, we're already jumping from lightning directly to cold, so we're not benefiting from the Eternity Shroud in the insane amount of way, right? But you can squeeze this a little bit. So basically how the conversion thingy works, you can only convert 100%, okay? If I write this real quick down, and we're gonna run a map showcase before I forget about the most important thing here. So let's assume you can only convert 100% conversion, okay? I'm not gonna explain how directly Eternity Shroud works. I think there is enough, you know, it's an advanced build. Like if you see, it's not like the cheapest build either, right? So that means that this is the following route, right? You can physical, lightning, cold, fire, chaos. You can always jump from physical into lightning, physical into cold, physical into fire, or physical into chaos, but you never can jump back, okay? So there is no item that says 10% of your fire damage is converted into physical damage. Conversion always goes this route. So basically make it like this, so it looks more straightforward. You cannot go back. That's why I say with an Eternity Shroud, it's best suited to start with a physical skill, like attack or spell, and convert everything into lightning using a physical to lightning support, and then profit, okay? Good. So if we have, what happens if we have 100%, more than 100%, right? So as of right now, we have like a 60% light to chaos from Voltaxic, and I have 48% light to cold with Call of the Brotherhood. So now we have over 100%. What does actually happen over here? I did not do the math, but it basically squishes it down, okay? So that means in an easier way, let's assume we have, let's say 100% fist to lightning and 50% fist to cold. That is a total of 150. So what happens is that it will apply 66 fist to lightning and 33% fist to cold. So basically, whatever your ratio is on how much conversion you're doing, the more it gets squished down into the 100%. Okay, that's the same thing that happens with like a divine flesh, and you have physical damage taking as lightning damage taking as chaos, like whatever, you know. It's always this conversion is always 100%, okay? And if you have over 100%, then it squishes it down for the correct aspect ratio to still be on 100%, okay? Good. I would say let's run a map just to showcase you guys like what the build is currently looking, and then we talk about the gear, how many chances everything took, because I self-chanced everything here. So let's go for yeah, let's just go like those kind of maps that I've been running the past couple of days. So incubators I think are not on, doesn't matter. I'm running those maps with like a 20% delirious, and this is basically just because I want to have extra monsters on the map, but I don't want to go like full juice or anything. So the way I'm farming this is just like I apply my sextants, right? I just apply my sextants, then I throw one Delirious Orb on it, so they are 20%. And from my current Atlas passive tree, I basically just went with a straight thing. Sexton modifiers, Shrines, Strong Boxes, and then spec'd into Delirium as well as some Searing Exarch. So that's how I'm currently farming. And I gotta say, I made the build, which, oh god, this is a terrible one. But yeah, doesn't matter. I made the build specifically tanky, okay? It's a bow build. It can never be as tanky as a Guardian with Aegis or armor stacking or anything like that. But considering it a bow build, I think it is pretty tanky. And what I did here, I'm running Precision. I'm running Grace, Determination, Defiance Banner, Purity of Elements. I do not have any damaging aura as of right now, just because I hate dying all the time. You know, I know, like, if I check my PUB, I think I have like 10 million DPS or something with the current setup, and the gear is straight up literally garbage. You know, I just wanted to have the bases, you know, shaped items, so my Eternity Shroud gives me this extra damage. But they're like chaos spammed. It's actually just get me a res capped, you know, like movement speed 25%. Dude, you can buy better items for 5 chaos on trade, right? But as of right now, I'm like overly res capped just because I had Wrath in, and now I switched to Purity of Elements because I want to be ailment immune. And for having like a unique chest, no shield, it's like very, very hard to get ailment immunity as a Deadeye. And I did actually use the, what is it? Grand Spectrums to get me capped. But you need jewel slots. I need 2 for Forbidden Flame Flash. I have like my Watcher's Eye. I have like a Lionized Fall here to convert all of these nodes. I run a Thread of Hope, so I don't really have 2 extra jewel slots to get the ailment immunity. And that's why I decided against Wrath, even though it's probably a 30% more damage of running Wrath, right? So if you're wondering, yo, why is this damage like low or comparable low? I think it's actually pretty good for the current state, because I'm running pure defensive auras, right? As I said, Grace, Determination, Purity of Elements, Defiance Banner, Clarity for my Watcher's Eye, I run Precision, and. So, I mean, overall, it is a Lightning Arrow build, so the clear is fantastic. And with fantastic, I mean, actually, it's top tier. I mean, I think nobody will ever question the clearing potential of Lightning Arrow, especially once you add some extra projectiles coming from the Deadeye Ascendancy. And this is actually the new Divine Lightning Arrow effect or something like that. And I'm basically farming those maps just because the potential drop of an Apothecary card. It has been said that this card drops now also in the Defiled Cathedral. I cannot confirm that yet. I've been running, yeah, quite some maps already, but the rarity of the card is insane. And last league I ran like a 1,500 Crimson Temple maps, and I got 1 single card. So, you know, maybe it's gonna happen, maybe it doesn't. I'm not too focused about it. I mean, the thing is, like, I am mostly interested in farming challenges. That's what I'm basically doing right here. Oh, damn. Yo, editor, cut this out! I died in the map showcase, oh no. So I'm farming challenges, and basically what I'm doing is I want to farm challenges in an environment that's technically, if I'm lucky, drop a card that is worth like, I don't know, 30, 40 Divine Orbs. And this just makes it feel better to grind in those kind of maps, just because if I would do the same in any other map, you know, where I cannot drop this, mapping just doesn't feel as rewarding. Because, you know, like, you have this in, dude, you know, I could just run a map and get 30 Divines if I'm lucky. It just feels better if you have that in your back, like, in the back of your head, right? But yeah, so, back to the build. Overall, for single target, you would add some totems here that help you shooting those lightning things, right? But I think my damage is high enough to not worry about that at all. I'm gonna use it if, like, something like Cozy spawns, or if, like, Omniphobia, the map boss, like, pretty super tanky Exiles, I don't know. Big monsters, this is where I use it currently. But my gearing is pretty low right now. Yes, I know, I spent quite some currency in chancing. The build is minimum 50 Divines worth, just because of the chancing of the Eternity Shroud, of getting all Shaper. But, you know, the items itself are actually pretty garbage that I have. That's why I started to invest first into all kinds of things that are easy resellable. And with easy resellable, I mean cluster jewels, I mean normal jewels, Watcher's Eyes, what else? Awakened gems, for example, you know? All of these things do have a price tag, and while mapping, you're leveling those gems, and at the end of the day, you're gonna get more back. If I would, for example, spend, I don't know, man, let's say 20 divines trying to make double elevated boots or something like that, and my craft is terrible in the end, they don't really have a big resale value. And that's why I think it's better to first invest into the other kind of things, right? Like cluster jewels or megalomaniacs or whatever you need, because they're gonna always be there, right? I'm also invested like 9 divines into an enlightened level 4 so I can reserve all my auras. So for the boss, basically, let's clear off these monsters over here. I'm gonna put down my totems, and now I'm just gonna shoot down my lightning barrage. And you see I have a 105% shock, and it kind of works like a dot. That means that these lightning beams, they will last for quite a bit of time, right? And even if I have to move, they are still gonna be there and actually shooting towards the enemy. Oh man, I'm so dead. I'm actually so dead. These, yo, how am I able to dodge that? Dude, I can't dodge that. God Gamer. No, the red beams. Ah. Yeah, so the problem is this boss, maybe many know of him, right? He's doing those red beams, and I don't know what it is, like damage, obviously, but this beam leaves behind such a nasty dot. And that deals like so hilariously amounts of damage, and then plus the ritual, plus the frost beams that also leave a dot and everything, you know, like, yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyways, looting I'm gonna do later. So as I said, I personally think for a bow build, the character is turning out pretty tanky. I'm almost level 95 just by running Delirious maps, and as you saw, this map was not really a joke at all. You know, we have like reduced spell suppression. I don't know what all the map modifiers on these maps was, but you saw it was actually kind of ridiculous. Plus Delirium, plus all the ground effects, plus clicking every single altar for the maximum currency and so on. But I think this build is actually decently tanky. Good. For the gearing. So, most important question first. That's probably the one that many people are gonna ask. What about your Call of the Brotherhoods? Did you buy them? Did you chance them? And no, I literally chanced everything here on stream. I think the Voltaxic Rift was about, oh man, 2,000 chance scours. The Call of the Brotherhood was like 8,000. I already chanced more items, but, you know, I don't want to spoil everything. On the Helm, I got actually pretty lucky. I think it's a very common unique. And I got it in like 75 chance orbs, but I had somebody else from stream that also is playing the build now. He said he spent 7,000 for Heat Shiver, right? I don't know, man. Either he's lying or he's unlucky, but the thing is, like, the thing with chancing is the rarer the unique, the more unlikely it is to get. As well as having items that are, we say, that have multiple bases, for example, makes it a lot harder. As an easy example here, right? So here we have the Forbidden Build thing. Call of the Brotherhood does have this beautiful Barracks Respite that can also drop, right? So I chanced 2 of those. The first one was like 8,000. The second was about, I think, 1,000. I was super lucky on this one, right? But you're always gonna get those kind of things. So yeah, I mean, that's just how it is, right? The thing here, I tried to chance a Badge of the Brotherhood, but I got 2 Victorious Equity and timepieces. The problem is that's not gonna happen. Like literally, I'm not gonna even remotely close gonna be able to get one of these Badge of the Brotherhoods. It's a very unique item, and the problem is you cannot chance everything, as well as some items are harder to chance than others, right? Based on the rarity, but also since they have multiple bases. So if, for example, if you want to go for a Shaped Headhunter, right? There's Worm Small. There's like so many unique leather belts that you can and will get instead, right? So you just have to prepare a shit ton of bases on top of that. But there is other items that just doesn't have anymore, right? I think Void Battery is one of those that should be. It's a rare one, okay? It is rare, but the thing is though, if you get a unique by chancing, it's gonna be the Void Battery. For example, here, Void Battery is a Prophecy Wand, so you would just chance a Prophecy Wand, Shaper that is, and there is unique variations. There is only Void Battery. So if you get it, it's gonna be Void Battery guaranteed. So if we take a look at like Call of the Brotherhood, or let's just do Badge of the Brotherhood, because of the Brotherhood, this is even worse. The thing is, like, the Badge of the Brotherhood used to be a Blight only unique, right? And since the revamp in 3.14, they added so many uniques into the core drop pool, so these are actually now chanceable, right? And if we take a look, it is a unique turquoise amulet, and this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different version, even though I don't even know what that thing is, but there is apparently 6 versions of that, right? And then you have to ask yourself, how often do you find certain items? How often do you find a Victorious Equity? Dude, this is, you know, you don't even pick that up because it's trash and it's super common unique item. Same as the Angel's Harmony, same as the Warped Timepiece, same as the Maligaros, right? But how often do you find the Badge of the Brotherhood? You know, it's like very, very, very rare. So that would mean I'm most likely gonna need 50 different amulets, and probably 30, 40, 50, or 49 of them will turn into Warp Timepiece, will turn into Equity and stuff. But you have the chance of actually getting a Badge of the Brotherhood, right? But, you know, a friend of mine said he already down 17,000 chance orbs and he still doesn't have it, right? But I remember, dude, I spent like 55,000 chance orbs to get my double influenced headhunter back in the days, right? But there is another unique that I'm pretty looking forward to, which is this one over here. I actually chanced a double influenced Shaper Elder, 30% quality, item sells much more to vendors, item level 86, 100% base percentile, Aegis Aurora. And yeah, Aegis is one of those things that is very expensive, right? I mean, it's like 18 divines, you know? And I said like, bro, before I buy one, I just chance one. Is it easy? No, I was super insanely lucky. I think it was like 4,500 or 5,000 chance orbs. That would be about 10 divines or something like that. So I got actually super lucky. But the thing is, the Aegis Aurora is a champion kite shield. Wait, where is the search bar over here, actually? Search. Aegis Aurora. So the Aegis Aurora is a unique champion shield, champion kite shield, and there is only the Aegis Aurora as a champion kite shield. So if I get a unique, it's gonna be Aegis, right? Same as the Void Battery, which makes it better to chance, but it's a tier 1 or tier 0 unique, so it's very, very unlikely that you're gonna get one. This could be 10, 15, 20,000 chance orbs, like chance scour orbs, right? I wouldn't really calculate it, but I'm just grinding, get currency, buy more chance scour orbs. I want to like play those fancy builds, you know. But I actually got one in like 4,500 or 5,000, so it was super, super easy to do. And if you're wondering, no, Prophecy League got removed, okay? Prophecy League got removed. We don't have Trash to Treasure. Otherwise, you could just Trash to Treasure something like this. But at the moment, you're just forced to like click, 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 and hope to not get insane with it, right? Good, that's about the chancing aspect. Let's talk about more about the build. What other items or things that I have incorporated here. As I said, Heat Shiver, it leaves a big question mark. Because as I said, with the conversion of the cold conversion and blah blah blah, you know, I need to hit quite a bit of cold damage to actually be able to freeze enemies. If I'm able to, it's insane damage. 100% cold is extra fire and Eternity Shroud bonus. That's big damage. But do I actually freeze enemies? Barely. I can not, like, it's hard to see, you know? Monsters are dying so fast. And you need to hit bosses for an insane amount of damage to actually be able to freeze them. But even if you only freeze them for 0.2 seconds, the shots in between, the lightning beams and stuff will actually get this applier, right? Even if you don't visually see that the boss is frozen, but sometimes it freezes for a short duration and a couple extra projectiles will deal a tremendous amount of more damage. I think this is better suited on a pure cold build like Winter Orb, like, I don't know, any pure cold build where your main damage is cold, so you have like a way easier time freezing, right? And freeze is basically the same with shock, basically, or let's say, yeah, with shock. So, you know, usually if you have a non-crit build, you need chance to shock, you need chance to ignite, you need chance to freeze. Chilled, I think you can always chill, doesn't matter. Based on your cold damage. But if you're critical strike, you will always apply. So every, like, even if I wanted to fire damage and no chance to ignite, if I crit with fire damage, I'm gonna inflict an ignite, right? The same is with shock. Every crit will inflict a shock based on the damage threshold. It will either get discarded or apply the shock. And this is the same thing with freeze. You need to hit a certain threshold to actually be able to freeze, right? But I would say I actually try to make an Astronaut's Junt and maybe take a Lightning Conduit, but sadly all my Iron Circlets actually went into Wrath of Disgusting Vendor item instead of the Astronaut's Junt, because I was really looking forward to trying this out with trigger socketed spells when you attack with 0.3 seconds cooldown or something, with a Tornado, with a Hydrosphere, or even with a Lightning Conduit, because, you know, Lightning Conduit with 105% shock effect is actually dealing a fuck ton of damage, right? Then, as I said, Voltaxic Rift is a Spine Bow. It's very strong. It is very strong, definitely, but I just, you know, with a Lightning conversion, I mean, this is still probably the best Eternity Shroud Lightning Arrow version that's out. I'm not sure how good this is compared to an traditional Omni Stacker Lightning Arrow, for example, but I still just like this version more. It's just more shiny and just looks better, right? Quiver, lightning damage, life, additional arrow, crit multi, ally damage with attacks, all these kind of mods fit in here. This is the wrong base, but I got this actually pretty cheap. I think it was like 1 divine. It was like better or stronger than what I would have crafted for 1 divine. Amulet, the same thing. It's always going to be life, resistance, ally damage with attacks. Mine does even have mana reservation, efficiency of skills. If you don't have that, don't worry about it, because the first thing that I would drop is Defiance Banner, right? It got nerfed. It's not that strong anymore. I use it because, first of all, I could fit it in, and I have Determination and Grace, so I'm like double dipping a little bit into the Defiance Banner, right? But it's not anything crazy in particular. Then for this ring, I mean, look at my items, dude. Fire Rest, lightning damage against shocked enemies, crafted life. You know, I bought the bases, filled up the character with shaped items, and then I said, like, yo, shit, I have like 100 chaos left. What am I going to do, right? And I just literally chaos spammed just life resistance, so I'm capped, right? You would actually want to craft this item with Essence of Envy, I think. No, wait. Essence of Scorn for the crit multiplier, and then try to hit lightning damage flat, you know. Stats is very important, because if you run Determination and Grace, like Determination, Defiance Banner and stuff like that, Molten Shell, you know, you need like 155 strength, you know. And that's very hard to do as a Ranger or Deadeye Ascendancy, because all the strength node on the right side, you know. So you probably have to even use the jewel that converts dexterity into strength, but even that is kind of sad, right? But here is a strength node for 1 point, here would be a strength node for 2 points. This is something you can consider, or I crafted this one. I just throw like an essence of, what is it? Wrath, or no, Sorrow? No, anything that gives you strength, basically, right? And just say like, yo, I need rest, and then that's pretty much it, right? Gloves, the best base, I think, is Grip Gloves, just because of the increased projectile damage. Since these are Shaper items, we cannot do any, like, Searing Exarch kind of shenanigans. And here again, I just Chaos Spam that for anything that gives resistance, you know? I don't even have life on that one, it's kind of terrible. Maybe I should just Exalt Slam it, but it's, as I said, you know, that's why I say, like, I think it's actually kind of crazy how much damage this build is already doing for having items like this, you know? The Stygian-wise, a lot of people would maybe wonder, how do you get a Shaper Stygian-wise? And the answer is quite simple. You get any Stygian-wise, you go PoE trade, and you buy literally the cheapest available Conqueror Exalted Orb. Most of the time it's like the Redeemer one. It's like 100 chaos or so. You throw it on, and then you go to your harvest bench and say randomize influence. And this is how I actually got a Shaper, Spine Bow, Shaper, Leatherhood, Shaper, whatever, you know? You just take the base, if it's not available on the market, as Shaper, and then you just throw the cheapest Conqueror Exalted Orb, and then you randomize the influence for 1,000 Blue Harvest Life Force until you hit Shaper. It's basically a chance 1 out of 6, right? Shaper, Elder, and the 4 Conqueror influences. And this is how you can get every single base type as Shaper. Yeah, so, good. This, again, just resistance. You know, it's like fucking tier 10 life or whatever. Anything that got me res capped. Dual here, lightning damage, life, lightning damage, everything gives you flat damage. Flat damage is actually insanely valuable in this build, because we don't really have a lot of flat damage, but through conversion and everything, and that's why Wrath is also like very, very strong. For the boots, I decided to go with Storm Rider boots, because I think we have some very good accuracy notes over here, so it shouldn't be any issue here with accuracy crit and here with accuracy attack speed. Both benefit our build quite heavily. We run a precision, so we aren't going to be overcapped on accuracy anyways, so that's why I decided to go with the Storm Rider boots to get this additional added lightning damage. It's not an accuracy stacker by any means, but it will add quite some flat damage, and as I just said, flat damage is very important. Flasks, Dying Sun, just for clearing. Its Serious Promise, very, very strong. Ally damage has extra chaos, the same stat as on the Eternity Shroud. Then I have here a Jade Flask and a Movement Speed Flask. Nothing too crazy, right? For the skill tree, over here you have a Lionized Fall, converting all of these dagger nodes into crit multi for bows, and the mastery critical strikes have Calling Strike, which is very, very powerful. Here we have a lightning mastery for the maximum shock effect, so we don't have to travel around to the other side of the tree, which is pretty good. Then spell suppression, crit multi, all these kind of things. I have a Watcher's Eye with attack speed, movement speed by grace, and minus mana cost for non-channeling skills, which helps pretty much with spamming those abilities. And then I use Prismatic Heart and Snowstorm with a Widespread Destruction as my large class of jewels. Snowstorm, lightning damage is extra cold damage. Cold damage, you know, Eternity Shroud against chilled enemies. I'm always going to chill enemies for 30%, giving me the 30%. Cold is extra fire as well permanently. Then Pressure Points, Quick Gateway, the typical classical. I have crit, a crit base build, give me damage and movement speed. Then I have a pretty nasty Megalomaniac with actually Sublime Form and Uncompromising, giving me Determination and Grace, Mana Reservation Efficiency. Then here I have just a random damage jewel, attack speed, life, damage, projectile damage, whatever fits in. Very, very strong. On the bottom side here, another large cluster jewel, Prismatic Heart, Snowstorm. Don't forget, Prismatic Heart actually triple dips into your damage because it's increased elemental damage. So it increases your lightning damage, gets converted into cold damage, get increased cold damage, convert into fire damage, get increased fire damage, you know. So everything that's elemental damage based, that's why I'm also running an Opal Ring, is very, very, very powerful when it comes to Eternity Shroud builds. Good. Here, a nice Thread of Hope with the large... own effects in large radius, which is King of the Hill, crit strike chance, attack speed, projectile speed, accuracy. We have here Primeval Force with you. If once you have you have 50% alias extra ally damage with attack skills. We have here ally resist, crit strike chance, ally damage, movement speed, spell suppression, accuracy. Like, this Thread of Hope is actually really disgusting. Could also go for Wind Dancer. Forces of Nature is not that strong because you don't really deal a lot of ally damage. Primarily it's cold and fire damage, and you don't have to worry about something a curse like Despair for lowering the chaos resistance, because Eternity Shroud ignores the chaos resistance. So they can have 100 plus chaos res or negative 100. It doesn't really matter. And here I'm using Withering Touch support. So this skill hits like a shit ton of times, maybe 50 times a second. So getting 15 withering stacks is massive, and Wither does basically more damage taken to the chaos damage taken. So that's actually very, very strong and powerful. I don't know if there's anything else that is into this skill tree. Path of Building link is in the description below if you want to take a look. I would say my build is like a 30% done, you know. Literally I would say a 30%. Because, yes, I spent quite amount of currency to get my Awakened Gems, to get my Enlighten, to get my Auras in, to chance the unique items that cost me, 30 Divines already or something like that. And basically, out of currency, just being like, give me some Shaper items so my Eternity Shroud is active, and then we just Chaos Spam and hope for something playable. I did play with Wrath before. It is insane amount of damage, but as I said before, getting Ailment Immune is primary for me, because I don't want to play builds that are not Ailment Immune. And even though I was Res capped without Purity of Elements, this just opened me up 2 jewel slots for my Forbidden Flame Flash, as well as now I can forget about everything that has to do with Avoid Elemental Ailments, and giving the fact that it's Purity of Elements, giving me a shit ton of resistance, now I can basically just ignore some resistance on the items and get chaos resistance, so I can get chaos res capped on top of that. So Grace, Determination, Ailment Immune, then Quadra, res capped. I think it's a pretty solid, yeah, it's pretty solid. Next one I would go for Imbalance Guard, Impossible Escape to get max resistance, to get Eagle of Eye, then you get Soul of Steel, max resistance, increased armor, all of the good things, maybe here even double damage. So there is, options are endless, basically. Good, let's go over the cosmetics real quick because I forgot this last video. Chaos Orb Helmet, we have the Primordial Dread Helmet attachment. Then going over to the Holy Eyes that you don't even see, Arch Nemesis Weapon, Angelic Quiver that you don't see either, the Divine Arcane Wings with a Ring of Victor, which basically makes this like, yeah, kind of thingy that you like get raised up on this like plateau. Gold Treasure Hunter effect, Infernal Crystalline charges. We have the Freezing Torture Gloves from the current mystery boxes, gives them a little bit of a freezing, different appearance. Golden Character effect. Vulcan Stormrider Boots, we have the Blood Color Life Flask, which is also from the current mystery boxes, Celestial Dying Sun, Quicksilver, which is Searing, I think it was Kirak's Vault or something like that. And then we basically have the new Divine Lightning Arrow, as well as the Merchant Aura effect and the Heritage Aura effect. All the auras are invisible. I don't like to have like a freaking Christmas tree, but this kind of like theme looks pretty good, especially when we go to our to my treasure room with all my challenge trophies. You know, it looks actually pretty solid, and yeah, good. Path of building link is in the description below. I hope that I could give you a good overview about this build. I could definitely recommend it if you're able to afford it. Either you are stupid enough to chance them, or you just wait on PoE trade to get them up. But I guess when the video is online and people are like, yo, that's actually a pretty cool build, I want to play that, then the prices of Shape Culture Brotherhoods might get very expensive on top of that. Good. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.